Hello, my friends. It's Matthew Street. Welcome to my channel. As always, I truly appreciate you being here. And folks, before you jump down my throat or send me nasty messages based on the title of this video, hear me out. Hear me out. And then make your judgment whether I deserve to be yelled at or not. Okay? Folks, back when Elvis Presley was still with us, near the end of his life, he was 42 years old. He was still out there doing shows. At the time, he was very sickly, had a lot of issues. Won't go into all the cause and history of that. If you've studied up on Elvis, you know. But he was very sickly. He was overweight to some extent. Not as grossly overweight as some people like it make out to be, but he was overweight. He still had his voice, though, right to the end. Elvis could sing. He had that power and that strength in his voice. And if you see some videos up there of him singing, especially there's one of him singing Unchained Melody at a piano during one of his final concerts. And it's absolutely amazing. The poor guy looks bad, but his voice rings true. And he was only 42 years old, as I said. So I'm here to tell you that I am not probably going to see Paul McCartney live ever again. Now, you might be getting ready to yell at me about that. Oh, Matt's here to make fun of Paul. He's going to pick on Paul. No, quite the contrary, folks. It's not the reasons you think. I'm probably not going to see him again because of high ticket prices, which, yeah, let's be honest, for these bigger acts, especially Paul, he's a legend. The prices are astronomical, hard to afford. Paul's voice, let's be honest, is pretty much gone. Singing voice anyway. He's an older man now. He's 82 years old, almost twice Elvis's age when Elvis passed. And God bless Paul, we still have him at 82 years old. But as an old man, his voice fades. I'm a 63-year-old man, and there's things on me that are fading. Everything starts to fade, folks. But God love Paul. He's still out there doing it and doing shows, and he's just started a new tour down in South America, and it's probably going to be a world tour. I'm guessing he'll be around here eventually, right? The reason people go to see these legends, the reason we go to see Paul McCartney now, people are down at these shows now in South America seeing him. People will see him when he goes to Europe, hopefully. He is going to London anyway, and Europe and the rest of the world, and the United States again, I'm sure. He's like the Energizer Bunny. The reason people went to see Elvis during his final tours back in 1977, they're not going to see, like in Elvis's example, to see him in tip-top shape, all muscular and built like a brick you-know-what house, you know? They're not going to see Paul because he sings like he did in 1968 or even 1978 anymore. People go for the experience, to be in the presence and experience a musical legend. That's why we do it. That's why you do it. We want to be part of something bigger than just a voice, a singing voice. We want to be part of something that's much bigger than just a mortal man like Paul. We want to experience a vibe, a real emotion of reverence towards something, to be just in awe of something like Paul, musically, Paul McCartney. And Paul brings all that. Despite the condition of his voice or his age, God bless him, he's still healthy enough to do it. How much longer, we don't know. But he brings all the things I'm speaking about to you. The reverence, the legend status, the vibe, the real emotion of just being in awe of this musical monster. You know, he's just amazing. He brings memories to you when he's up there singing now, or when he puts out music now. The memories he's giving us, and you and me, are to be preserved. Every little thing we can get from Paul at this point. Because let's be honest, folks, at 82, we don't know. You just don't know. People are living much longer in this day and age, but there's going to be a point in the next few years or so, probably within the next decade, where we're going to lose Paul McCartney. And the memories we have of him and the music he's provided us and the live experiences, and he's provided us so many of those things, we are going to hold on to them and cherish them forever. and they will be passed on from generation to generation long after Paul is gone and we're gone. Preserve them, hold on to them, love them. And I say I may not see Paul live ever again because, folks, I have memories that I've preserved within my heart and soul that can never be duplicated again with Paul. Never. They will never be duplicated again. And this isn't a put down of his voice, although his voice is pretty much shot. It's not a put down of his age because he's still out there doing it. Musically, he can do it. But let me share just some of the memories I can never duplicate again, folks. February 1990, I see him in Worcester. First time I ever saw him on the Paul McCartney World Tour. I went with one of my best friends in the whole world, and my second son was about to be born in February of 1990. He eventually was born in February of 90, only a few days after Paul played the show in Worcester. My wife was very pregnant. Mrs. Street was pregnant. There were no cell phones back then. I don't even think I had a pager back then. We just had these kind of phones, landlines and stuff. And it was basically one of those things. I was getting in the car with my best friend to go see Paul for the very first time. And I basically said to her, "You okay, hon? I'm going now." So once that car door closes and we leave to go to Worcester, Mass to see Paul, if the water breaks, well, I don't know what to tell you. No, it wasn't that insensitive, but you get what I'm saying, folks. And so that memory of seeing Paul for the first time with one of my best friends and my second son being born right after that, and the whole story, we used to laugh for years after how he didn't care about me. And my wife would joke, he didn't care about me. Matt was just going to go. And, if I had the baby, I had the baby. Paul came first, So that's a memory, a cherished memory. Saw him again the next night in Worcester with my best friend in the whole world. And why that means so much to me, folks, is because on that next night, same thing with Mrs. Street. She was still expecting my second child. But now, about 8 years ago, my best friend passed away. We lost him. And so the memory of seeing Paul for the first time for those first two shows in Worcester with him and my son being born right after that. And now my best friend is gone. It's just a memory I can't express. July of 90, Paul comes to Foxborough Stadium, at the time the home of the Patriots. And here's a memory I'll never replace or duplicate, because for the first time, my wife came, my best friend came, one of my brothers came, and my mom and dad. And you've met my dad before in my videos. He recently passed away. February of 90, the first show at Foxborough Stadium. It was February 24th, to be exact. How can I ever replace that memory of seeing Paul with my mom and dad, who are now gone, my best friend who's now gone, my brother and wife are still with us, thank goodness. But so seeing Paul with them for the first time, it's just something I could never replace. The next night, and also, I have an unused ticket, not one of our tickets. I got this later as a souvenir. Here's an unused ticket, back when they had paper tickets from that first series of shows at Foxborough Stadium of Paul. The Paul McCartney World Tour, Friends of the Earth sponsored. Remember that? So I have some unused tickets I got as souvenirs. And the next night on July 25th, you've got to go back and see the video when I met Paul and hung out with him for 10 or 15 minutes. But yeah, I met Paul McCartney when I was working security for his shows. The second middle night, he did not have a show, and I got to meet him. So that's a memory. That's a Beatles fan memory you can never duplicate. I will never meet Paul McCartney again, but I'm blessed that I got to meet him once. The next night, I saw him again with my best friend on July 26th. Again, a friend that's since passed away. 1993, road trip with friends to Toronto, Exhibition Stadium. A pipe band comes out. They do Mullican Tire. Only time I ever saw him do Mullican Tire. 93, a few weeks later, Giant Stadium, again with Mrs. Street. Giant Stadium, the New World Tour. Off the ground tour, whatever you want to call it. Oh, and I forgot to show you this. This is the first Paul McCartney Tour souvenir shirt I ever got. Still have it. Large. Probably be a little snug on me now. Paul McCartney, this was from 1990, that first. I forgot to show you this when I was speaking about these sets of shows, but Oh my goodness, folks, the memories. I've saved this sweatshirt all these years. I've worn it. I love it. What a memory. My first souvenir of a Paul McCartney show. 2002, when we had the Beatles anthology, then sadly Linda passed away in 1998. So Paul went on a period there where he wasn't doing shows, but in 2002 he was back and he was in Boston. And that son that was born of February 1990 came with me to see Paul at the, what was it called at the time? The Fleet Center in Boston, which is now the TD Garden. And my youngest son, born when I was seeing Paul in Worcester, that was 12 years earlier, came with me. What a memory. Can't replace it now. 2005, nobody was available to see Paul with me, so I went back to the Fleet Center in Boston to see Paul on the Chaos and Creation Tour show. No one was available, so I went alone. I got a ticket and I went alone. I asked people. My best friend who was still alive at the time, couldn't go. I forget what was happening. I went, and it was one of the best shows I ever saw Paul McCartney live. He was in great voice. He was wonderful. I loved it. 2009, another memory. Both my sons came. My oldest son, for the first time, saw Paul then. Second time for the younger one. Both sons at Fenway Park, 2009. What a memory. 2011, New York City, Yankee Stadium. My two sons again. And my two future daughter-in-laws. They were dating my sons at the time. They came. Eventually, they all got married. My two daughter-in-laws, I got to experience it with them. Oh. And another one I'll share with you is 2017. The younger son again, the one who was born February of 90. He came to Madison Square Garden with me, New York City, to see Paul. Wow, what a memory. And the big thing about that one was Bruce Springsteen and little Steven Van Zandt from the E Street Band come out and jam with Paul at the end. How can you beat it? So, folks, what I'm saying is here, I love Paul. I will never begrudge anyone for going to see him live. Go. It's worth it. Okay? I don't know if I'm going to go again because I have so many great memories of him. And if you go see him now, despite his voice being pretty much gone, you'll enjoy it. He gets through it. Create your own memories when you go. Don't judge Paul on his voice. He's up there hustling, doing the best he can. It's a happening. It's a once-in-a-lifetime moment. You're seeing a musical legend unlike any other musical legend that's alive right now. And time is running out, folks. Let's be honest. You need to do it now if you can do it. Will I do it? I don't know. Not so much for his voice. The ticket prices are high. The convenience of going. At my age, I may try to go. We'll see, depending if he comes around my area again. But I have to say, I don't think I'm going to see Paul again. I have so many wonderful memories of him. But for you, I encourage it. I encourage it. Go see Paul. Go. Experience it. Love it. Live it. You will not regret it. That's it, folks. I love you. Bye-bye.